Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast here on WBLL, Central Ohio's Classics Hits. We're blessed enough to have an interview with Scott Violette. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Seth?
Well, how are you doing this evening? I said night. Here in the eastern part of Eastern time. Here, it's 4, so it's evening. Where you're at, it's afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Now, how did you get into Bigfoot research?
Well, it started quite a few years ago. I'm an anthropologist, and my expertise is in Native American culture. So I've been working with Native American tribes for over 25 years, and every tribe in the nation has a Bigfoot legend, and that kind of got me into it. Um, I actually had a tribe I was working with in California, the Miwok tribe, and we had found some pictographs that I didn't know what they meant. And I asked one of the tribal elders, what's this pictograph mean? And he goes, oh, it's Yayali in their language, which means hairy man. So I said, hairy man, like Bigfoot. And he goes, yeah. And I looked at him and I said, is Bigfoot real? And he looked at me like I was stupid and said, yeah, and walked off. So that's what kind of got me into you know, hunting down Bigfoot legends. And then I started looking into the footprint casts and things like that. And kept seeing some stuff that told me that the evidence is out there. So that's what got me into hunting them.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome, man. And you hear a lot of stories of Native Americans like being the first people to see Bigfoot and stuff. So
Yeah, very true. They got legends going back thousands of years.
definitely, man. I mean, pretty much Native Americans are the first people of Earth. So,
Mhm.
well, some people think Bigfoot is the first person of Earth,
Yeah.
the first human of Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think Bigfoot is half man, half ape? Do you think Bigfoot is an alien? I've heard he's an alien. I've heard he could be possibly a spirit.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's like some of the tribes call them a spirit being, and then some of them just say they're just an animal, but they're a brother to us. My theory is, as an anthropologist, I know any time in human history, there's been 2 to 3 species of humans living together at the same time. It's not like that picture you saw with the kid where the monkey turns into the guy. That's not how it worked. What it is you had like a group of people in one place, and then some of them ventured somewhere else and it started a new group, and then this group ventured somewhere, and when they got to different places they developed differently. They adapted to where their surroundings, and so it wasn't like this first group went extinct and the next group started. I mean, they lived together. So my theory is this thing walks upright and has small canine teeth, so it makes a hominid like us. So I think it's another human species that just has not went extinct yet, just way older than us.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot as well. And
Mhm.
some people say that they've survived longer and they live longer than we do because they don't take the vaccines or eat the foods that we eat as well. That's what some researchers have said. Bigfoot's told them.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally agree. They don't eat the crap we do, and I imagine they do have longer lifespans than we do.
Definitely. And somebody said that we used to actually be that hiding because the vaccines we take and all that stuff is we shrunk, and that's the reason why they stay tall because they don't take our vaccines or eat the stuff with chemicals in it like we do.
Right. Yeah, the human's lifespan. They say it's been going up over the years, but I think it's because they learned how to keep people alive longer, but they're sicker while they're doing it. If you know what I'm saying. So I think, yeah, lifespans, like if you look back in biblical times, they were living, 200 years old, and so I think we could get back to that if we would clean up what we eat. I totally agree with you on that.
Not take the vaccines,
Yeah, and that's it.
definitely.
Yeah.
And have you actually hear the Native American actually tell you a story about them talking with Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few tribes that have um, conversations with them. In fact, one of my favorite ones is the Ojibwa tribe, which are up in Michigan and southern Canada in that area. Um, they actually have a treaty with Bigfoot. There was a story that was told that when the white man showed up, Bigfoot told the tribes, not to have anything to do with them. And the tribe said, well, they wanted to trade for their trinkets and things. So Bigfoot said, well, if you trade with the white man, we are going to leave and go into the woods and never be seen again, which is kind of interesting because they went into the woods and haven't been seen since. So that's probably my favorite story that I've heard.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome, man. And yeah, have you heard any other stories about Bigfoot just from anybody else, or do you have your own experiences with Bigfoot?
Well, I do have my own experience by far. About 5 years ago, I had well, we had about 5 years ago, we started a group called Blue Mountain Bigfoot Research, which we have now, it's Squatch America now. We went national with it a couple of years ago. But what I did is I had started a website where people could submit reports to us in our area, and we're in Eastern Oregon, which is a Bigfoot hotspot in the Blue Mountains of Eastern Oregon. Um, in the 90s, they had a whole lot of sightings, and Paul Freeman got a video of one back then. That's my research area. And so we set up a website and started getting stories from people. And I I was surprised. I mean, we even had our website crash once. We had so many people on it at the same time. It was pretty cool. But I had got 5 reports from 5 different people that didn't know each other in the same area in the same week. And I thought, well, that's where they're at. So I was headed out, and I was gonna just camp out in that area for a little while. And what was kind of funny is on the way out, my wife's friend, her dad was having a birthday and he wanted to go bigfooting. He had never done it before. So I said, well, come on, I'll take him with me. And so we went up in the hills and we were hiking this trail, and I smelt the smell. I had never smelt that smell before, but we had reports of people how bad they smell. So that was my first experience with that. I smelt this horrendous smell. Um, and I kind of it's like skunk, wet dog, garbage, and onions, I guess altogether. It's kind of weird. But anyway, so we stopped and we were scanning through the trees trying to see uh where that was coming from, and I didn't see anything. So I told the guys with, I said, hey, let's just hike down the trail and see if it follows us, or maybe it'll get up on the trail and we can get some footprints or something. So we hiked a little ways and the smell went away, so it wasn't following us. So we turned around and went back. And then when the smell was really intense, I actually just looked off into the woods and just went and just to get a reaction, and it mimicked me and actually copied almost exactly what I did. It went back at me like it was talking to me. And that's when I saw it. It was down the hill. It was like 200 feet away from me, kind of bobbing side to side. uh and I had my camera in my hand, and I pulled up and I got one shot, one blurry picture as usual, you know, because it's so far away, and my camera is trying to focus on the tree limbs in front of it. But I got one blurry picture of it, and then we heard this whistle off in the woods and it turned and walked away. So I did get to see one for about 3 seconds. And so we went down. I actually spent 3 days there shooting laser shoot trees, measuring everything, but we did find 9-inch footprints where it was standing, and there was 15-inch footprints next to it. So there was two of them, and I only saw the one. I saw the smaller one, the juvenile. It was only about 6 foot tall. So yeah, I've had a 3-second encounter with the juvenile Bigfoot. So that's about it.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the smell. Definitely
Uh,
Now, have you heard any stories of people seeing UFOs with Bigfoot at the same time?
I have heard stories. I have never experienced that. And uh, you know, I tend to think that these are flesh and blood earth creatures myself. Um, but there's some spiritual stuff too, some, because some of the Native American tribes, like uh the Miwoks I told you about earlier, I mean, one of their legends says everywhere Bigfoot goes, a light follows, like a glowing orb. Um, I don't know if they meant eye shine or what, but it could be a globe. I don't know. I don't rule it out. I put it that way, because we don't. Um, One of the things we say, like I have a YouTube channel, Squatch America. I'm gonna plug it real quick, but one of the things we end our show with every week is our job is to investigate the unexplained, not to explain the uninvestigated. So until we have something positive 100% scientific proof, it's all speculation. So I don't rule anything out.
Definitely. And I'll definitely put your channel in the link below in the description below. Definitely
Okay.
send me that on Messenger. I'll put in the description definitely,
Oh,
man.
thanks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Bigfoot is you definitely don't want to rule anything out with Bigfoot. There's like you said, I've heard a lot of people tell me about orbs being seen with Bigfoot as well.
Mhm.
Or seen before, orbs being seen before Bigfoot appears or after as well. And
Yeah.
that is kind of weird. I know orbs are mostly connected to ghosts,
Right.
being a former paranormal investigator. Former.
Yeah. Former.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's cool. I mean, I've actually delved into that a little bit too, but you know, uh, I have a friend of mine that does some Bigfoot research, and they keep, when you like, his thought on it is when there's the stories where people say they see Bigfoot vanish in front of them, or they're kind of shimmery and you can see through them and things like that. I always wondered, well, what if that's not an ability a Bigfoot has? What if it's a ghost Bigfoot? You ever think about, you know, that could be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who've seen ghosts of cats and dogs and stuff.
Mhm.
Definitely wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Um, some people think also the Bigfoot is possibly going into another dimension, a
Yeah.
portal to another dimension. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that as well.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I don't rule it out. But I tend to lean towards the um, flesh and blood creature part of it, mainly because, there has been some DNA. They've got hair samples they've got DNA from. And a lot of people don't know this, but the DNA in every animal on the planet has there's a code that says you're from Earth, basically. I mean, trees have it, we have it, so we have the same DNA as like every living thing, including plants on the planet here has this Earth code. Basically, if you're from Earth, you've got this code in your DNA. There's only one animal on the planet that doesn't have that code, and that's octopus. So I don't think they're from here, but uh, Bigfoot does. What the DNA that we suspect is Bigfoot DNA does have that code. So I that gives me one little piece of the puzzle, I think, that makes me lean towards their flesh and blood creature.
Definitely. I mean, I've had a guy on before. He said that he thinks that some Bigfoots are just like us. Some Bigfoots are good, some are bad, and some are just in the middle, good and bad.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that too. It's kind of interesting that uh, I've got reports from like 75 different Bigfoot or different Native American tribes about Bigfoot and the names they have for them. And it's kind of interesting, about half the tribes call them benevolent brother, spirit being, friend, stuff like that. The other half of the tribes, and it's kind of more of the southern tribes too, they call them cannibal, monster, bad guy. I think it's just how the tribes got along with the Bigfoot. And like I said, I think there's good Bigfoot, bad Bigfoot, and there's teenage boy Bigfoot. So that that's a thing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I've never been lucky enough to see a Bigfoot, but we've had a sighting down here, and it was actually at the lake. So I think they're connected to like how people do. They're connected to the water.
Oh yeah, they have to be. When I'm out doing research, that's one thing we do a lot of is follow creeks and rivers and around lake beds because that's where we find footprints. You know, I literally find footprints probably once or twice a year, and just by doing that. You know, when you get out in the forest and rocks and stuff, you're not going to find footprints as prevalent as you do down by a creek bed. So that's where we do most of our searching.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and you hear the same with UFOs. UFOs go into the water and then pop right out. Um, I believe UFOs maybe do that to recharge. I don't know. That's what some people. That's what some people say that. That's their theory.
Hmm.
Like you said, we don't know 100% on UFOs, aliens, or Bigfoot, or heck, we know more about that than what we do Dogman though.
Yeah,
Have you
true.
researched Dogman any?
I have actually. Yeah, I've got some friends that are in Wisconsin. That's a big dog man spot, you know. And actually, we're going to be headed there next spring. I think sometime we're going to head up there and do some dog man research. So
Yeah, that's some creepy stuff
it is.
already.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether just they're misidentified Bigfoot or not, but it could be, or just wolves. I don't know. But I'm gonna go check it out. But this like I said, next spring. But we're this summer we're gonna stick with Bigfoot. I think another thing that I also wanted to check out probably is that we get down south, is the chupacabra. Those are the three things on my list: Bigfoot, Dogman, and chupacabra. The ones I think out of all the cryptid things that could be possibly be true.
Mothman in West Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know about Mothman. That's more of I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, but I got a lot. I got my hands full of Bigfoot first, so
You ever been to Point Pleasant?
I have not. No.
Oh man, you definitely gotta go. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there once, man. Uh, it does feel, as a paranormal investigator, it does kind of feel spiritual. It felt you could just feel the energy walking into the museum. They had
Mhm.
like artifacts, like pieces of the bridge and everything in the world at the
Oh, cool.
and like letters and stuff, and you could feel some spiritual energy.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I've actually hit all the in our travels, we've hit all the Bigfoot hotspots. I've been to Falk, Arkansas, where the Falk monster, you know, and we've been on the Sabine River in Texas, the Sabine thing, and and the Caddo Critter, Caddo Lake in Texas, and then we've been to Deduck Springs up here where the Freeman film was taken, and of course we've been to Bluff Creek, you know, where the Patterson film was taken. So yeah, we've hit all the Bigfoot hotspots.
What's your thoughts on the Patterson film?
Oh, I think it's the best evidence we have to date. Um, you know, there's a really good book that's was written on it. Um, and it's called When Roger Met Patty, and it's written by a guy by the name of Bill Munns. And he is a Hollywood monster creator guy. Uh, and he's worked with film forever. And he actually took the original Patterson film frame by frame and digitized it and looked at it. And he said in 1967, there's no possible way uh, Hollywood with $1 million could have made the costume that good. You know, if it was a costume, you know, he said you can see muscles moving under the skin, and the stuff they just can't do unless it's digital today. And in 1967, there was digital nothing. Computers weren't even invented yet, or barely invented. And if you look at Hollywood, the best costumes was in 1967 for gorillas was Planet of the Apes, and and those weren't even, they couldn't even do the body part of those. They covered them up with clothes because they couldn't make the body parts look real. So, yeah, and so I totally think it's probably the best evidence we have to date. And I've actually met Bob Gimlin and talked to him about it. We were actually got invited to his birthday party last year, and his 91st birthday party. But when he still talks about it, I mean, he's like 91. It's been like years, over 50 years that happened, and he still gets goosebumps on his arms when he talks about it. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, there's that, and then I speak at a lot of conferences and stuff. And so I know Dr. Jeff Meldrum really well. He's from Idaho State University, kind of the foremost guy, scientific guy in the Bigfoot world. And he totally is on board with Patterson film also, because they tried to duplicate how that creature walked, and it doesn't walk like a person. Um, and he said a person couldn't have done that.
Yeah, it took some big steps, man, that just a
It,
human just can't do.
Yeah, exactly. And the way it walks, it doesn't walk like a human. I mean, we walk heel to toe, and they walk flat-footed when they put their foot flat, and then the foot bends in the middle and comes off the toes. And you can actually see that in the footprints how it walks. And so it doesn't duplicate what humans do. I mean, it's not the same.
Oh, definitely not. And do you actually have some footprints on you right now? Or
Do I have some?
yeah,
Yeah, I have quite a few. I have a bunch. I mean, we have 4 or 5 that we have found ourselves, and we also have uh I have copies of like the Patterson film. I have copies from the Freeman uh files. I have, even the handprint that Paul Freeman got. But we actually found some pretty significant footprints this last year. In 2012, Cliff Barrickman from the Finding Bigfoot show,
yeah.
they found over 120 footprints at Cottage Grove Lake called the London Trackway, and he found that was like what, 11 years ago. Well, last year we found more footprints at the same place in Cottage Grove Lake that we cast, and we compared them with Cliff's, and they match. Now, Cliff seems to think that these footprints were faked, but we're in the middle of doing an investigation right now to try to figure out if they were or not. I'm actually going to try to make some fake footprints from the cast that I've got, kind of make a copy of if it was faked, and see if I can fake them the same way that we found them. Um, and if I can do it, then they're probably fake. So, but yeah, but other than that, yeah, we find footprints all the time.
Do you actually have some of the cast on you right now, or
Yeah.
heck
Oh, I
yeah,
do. Oh, you want to see them?
yeah.
Okay.
If you don't
Uh,
care to,
just give me a second. I'll get them out. Um, I got them right here next to me, actually. I just got to get down to the box where I can open it. Okay. Now these are the ones from the Cottage Grove. Yeah, we got these on 24th of February this year, and they're 16 inches long. And you can see the toes in them. And it has like this one toe that's spread out because it was in mud and it slid forward. So that's the, let's see. That's that's the right foot. This is the left foot. You can see it. So this one is slightly longer because this one slid, but they're about 15 inches, but this one's 16 because of the slide, but they're about 15 inches long.
Wow. Yeah, man, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Definitely appreciate you showing it, man.
no problem.
Definitely. Yeah, man, I love Bigfoot stuff, man. I've always been into it. I used to watch Cliff.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a legend in the game for sure.
yeah, he is. Yeah. Yeah, he and I we've spent a lot of time together working on this print uh stuff. Yeah, actually after we got after I these prints here that I just showed you, I actually when we made after we got them, I actually mailed them to him, and he compared them to his, and he made copies of them for me. And I went and picked them up and hung out with him a couple days and talked about these prints and things. He and I have also spoke at a lot of Bigfoot festivals together too. So about four at this point. So there you go.
Definitely. Will you be speaking at any Bigfoot conferences close to Kentucky or no?
No, not this year. I mean, we've been swamped up here in the Northwest, but um, I've got a couple coming up. I got one in Medellin Falls, Washington, and another a couple more in Southern Oregon to do this year still. And but yeah, we're planning on trying to get back there next spring in the through that area. Um, we live full time in an RV and travel, so we kind of follow wherever the Bigfoot stuff's happening as we can. Um, so yeah, I didn't mention that, but like 2 years ago when the pandemic hit, my wife and I were both teachers at the time. We said we're not doing the online BS teaching. So we left our jobs and sold our house and bought an RV and just hit the road and started doing Bigfoot stuff. So that's worked out for us for the last couple of years. So uh, we plan on getting down south at least and Texas and Arkansas and some Louisiana. So it's not too far. I might get to Kentucky. That'd be fun. I'll keep you informed.
Yeah. In Louisville, we actually have the goat man. I don't know if you've heard of that story.
I have actually. Yep.
Creepy as well.
Yeah.
More creepy than the dog man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, in fact, I think in Louisiana they have a hog man too. Like I
I've never
forgot
heard
what.
that one.
Yeah. So it's weird.
Yeah. So, now, do you believe that the hog man is fake or real?
I don't know.
I've not even heard
I,
that.
I, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think some of these stories they go back a long time, but there's like when I was doing Native American cultural stuff and and interviewing tribes and talking to them, they have all these really scary stories sometimes, but you got to wonder if some of these stories were stuff they just told their kids to keep them in the teepee at night, and some of them are real. So it's kind of hard to pick which ones are which. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. I believe Bigfoot to be real, though,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, I do. Well, I saw one, so I can't deny it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is there some Bigfoot stories made up? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We figure, like I said, we have a website and we get a lot of reports every year. I figure about 75% of them are legit, but there's that 25%, I had one lady tell me this horrific story about how she's been having sex with Bigfoot for 5 years. And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. I didn't say that to her. I just smiled and nodded and say, oh, thanks for the story. But
uh, Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say to that, man.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like, okay, thanks. Yeah.
You were speechless.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And yeah. I'm sure you have stories of people telling you Bigfoot comes up to them and gives them food and everything in the world.
Yeah, there's those, well, actually there's kind of there's some legitimate ones I think about that
Yeah, when
where
people give
people,
them food, yeah.
yeah, are trading stuff, with them because the Native American tribes said they've been trading with Bigfoot forever too. Uh, it's kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of one story off the top of my head. Uh, well, there's a Native American story out of Alaska where this gal who got fed up with her tribe, she actually went and lived with Bigfoot for 5 years and came back. Uh, and the tribe swears up and down it's the true story. So you never know.
Yeah. But I know Native Americans switch food with them and stuff, but I'm talking about just random people out here saying they've seen Bigfoot in a UFO at McDonald's and like going
Yeah, oh
somewhere and
yeah,
getting a Big
yeah,
Mac.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't think so. I have got some stories of Bigfoot dumpster diving near cities. That's kind of crazy. Uh,
That's probably true.
it's probably true. Yep.
That's crazy though. Which cities, if you can say?
Well, there's one Kenosha, Wisconsin, actually. There was a story out of there that they saw a Bigfoot dumpster diving. I'm trying to remember if there's a couple more, but I can't remember exactly where they're at. But I know Kenosha was one of them where a guy told a story, sent us a report about them seeing dumpster diving. So
Yeah,
in fact, a lot of sightings. I don't get surprised at where they have sightings anymore because how close they are to cities and people don't even know it. Uh, my sighting was within 10 miles of a town in the woods. We've had reports of people finding them in their apple orchards, in town, picking apples. So I think they're a lot closer than we think a lot of times.
definitely. Now, what upcoming shows do you got? And what upcoming conferences do you have?
Oh, okay. Actually, I gotta pull my calendar up real quick if you don't mind. But the next one we've got coming up is on June 10th. We're in a little tiny town called Elgin, Oregon. We'll be talking about Bigfoot during a train ride. Um, uh, and then I'm trying to look and see when Medellin. Then we're headed up to Medellin Falls, Washington. We'll be speaking with a bunch of other Bigfoot people. Oh, I'm trying to get my calendar up. Okay, here we go. Uh, okay, we're doing the Bigfoot train on the 10th, and then we're headed to Medellin Falls, Washington, and that'll be on the 16th and 17th. And then we're headed to Cave Junction, Oregon to do on the July 1st. We're doing a conference there. And then we're doing a conference on the 22nd of July in a place called Glide, Oregon. And that's me and Dr. Jeff Meldrum will be speaking at that one together. And then on the 18th, I think it is, of August. Oh, no, the 12th of August will be in Baker City, Oregon, which is in the Blue Mountains, in Eastern Oregon. We'll be speaking with Paul Freeman's son, Michael Freeman, will be there, and we'll also have a Todd Neese, who's another Bigfoot, kind of an OG Bigfoot guy. He's actually an Army vet like I am, and he's known as the guy who blew up Bigfoot. he was he was years ago he was an engineer where they were setting charges in a rock quarry, and they set charges and drove away, and he looked back and there were Bigfoot in a rock quarry, and the charges went off, but I think the Bigfoot were okay. But he'll be here in Baker City, Oregon, speaking with us. And then after that, we are headed south, and I don't know what we're doing there. We're going to do a lot of, we do a lot of our own investigations too. So we're going out in the woods this weekend. We spend about 150 days a year in the woods. So,
Yeah, man. Well, this has been the interview with Scott Violette here on WBLE Central Ohio's Classic Hits. I want to thank Scott for being on. Everybody have a good night and God bless.